Good evening. My name is Rachel Jaris. I am just an ordinary citizen that woke up and realized that women's rights are under attack. And I feel that I have to learn about the legislative process and become as involved as I possibly can. The stories that I'm going to tell are very personal to me. When I was a nursing student in the 70s, I cared for an infant that had a fatal birth defect. The baby was the second child born to a mother that had the very same defect. My destiny as a nurse led me to care for the mother's 3-year-old a short while later. Seeing the mother crumple to the floor and cry in grief after she was told about the condition of her newborn infant is something I'm never going to forget. Sorry. The experience profoundly humbled me to realize that I have no right to choose for another individual, and that when they're making the most difficult decision in their lives. Back then, it's many years ago, there was no choice available to that woman. When I was in the hospital giving birth to my first child, a new mother died. Although the practitioner spoke softly between sobs, she spoke in medical lingo. She did not think that I heard what she said or understood, but because I was a nurse, I did hear and I did know exactly what she was speaking about. I had a very complicated delivery myself. I risked giving birth a second time. I'm sorry. Compose myself.
Take your time.
Because I desperately wanted another child. But the decision was mine to make at that time, and no one could make it for me. When I gave birth to my second child, I was very fearful because I developed the same complications as I did with my first child. And my physician gravely told me that if I had another baby, I risked my own life. I was very fortunate in the 1980s to know that contraception and abortion was available to me to protect my own life and to protect my family. In 1960, prior to the legalization of abortion, 37 mothers died for every 100,000 births. While there was no significant change in the causes of maternal death, the rate of new mothers dying dropped sharply in the years following Roe v. Wade, and by 2003, the rate was down to 12. However, maternal death rates are rising again in the United States. This is especially true in regions that restrict access to abortion. Today, the maternal death rate in the United States is up to 16, which results in at least 650 women dying each year in childbirth. Another 60,000 women suffer near fatal complications. In Texas, where abortion is severely restricted, 26 women are dying per every 100,000 births. If we return to when abortion was illegal and the mortality rate was much higher, more new mothers will die in childbirth, and near-fatal complications will increase as well. In this country, where we firmly believe in the right to bear arms, and we have stand-your-ground laws that justify killing another living person to protect yourself, but abortion foes seek to deny women the right to protect their own lives by refusing them the right to reproductive freedom. I believe that disregarding medical reality of the real danger that women face in childbirth is a lie of omission in the religious crusade against abortion. One group's religious belief must not be forced on every woman. Many people of different religious perspectives do not share that belief. 2 out of 3 women, you've heard this, in the state believe that abortion should be kept legal, and nationwide, 57% believe it should be legal. The religious belief of some must not be allowed to deprive all women of their right to medical care, to deny access to contraception and abortion, and override a woman's private decision of conscience. To do so would be an infringement upon the First Amendment. The right to abortion has been federal law for 40 years and has been protecting the lives and well-being of women. I urge you to support Bill 274. I also have a brief comment on the other bill, if that's okay.
That's fine.
I know that there were questions about how many women are abused while they're pregnant. When I was younger, I had a friend who was thrown down a flight of stairs by her husband when she became pregnant. She was a good person. She was well educated and she was well raised by a wonderful family. Her only mistake was marrying a man that turned out to be a cruel, controlling bully and not the loving guy he had pretended to be. She sustained a severe leg fracture in the assault, but she did survive. Fortunately, she was able to leave her abuser. But unfortunately, far too many women are physically abused by men that claim to love them. I know, and you've already heard that 10,000 women receive domestic violence services every year. Obviously, pregnancy can be a precipitating factor. Healthcare privacy is the right of all people, and women's healthcare rights must not be held to a different standard. Women must not be stripped of their rights and must be allowed to protect themselves from the men that would harm them, and I urge you to support this bill as well.